Yeah. We're good to go. Okay, a very warm good evening, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the 36th edition of our monthly interview segment Inside the Arena. And we have today inside the arena a very distinguished engineer, a fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers whose career cut across different ministries. Ministry of Sports, Ministry of Works, Ministry of Transportation. A very distinguished engineer, Mohammed Olatunji Babakobi, fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. So it's our pleasure to have you inside the arena today.
Thank you very much, Sir Anko.
To our participants, I still remain your regular host, Engineer Ben O.C. Oko. And before we go on, let me quickly also inform us of the rules of the game. We have 3 segments of this program. First is what we call the direct free kick, where the questions will be directed to the guest by the host. And after that, we go to the next segment of the program, which is the corner kick, where the participants will have the opportunity to also ask questions. And after that, we go to the final segment, which is the extra time. At the extra time, that is the time we now put the participants on the hot seat also. And we're going to ask them questions, and the lucky participants will be going home with prizes. And today we have 3 beautiful prizes. We have a refrigerator, we have a microwave oven, and also we have a standing fan. So 3 lucky participants are going to be going home with these fantastic prizes. Once again, it's my pleasure to welcome you to this edition of Inside the Arena. And interestingly, of course, the last for the year 2024. And what a way to end the year. Once again, we want to welcome you inside the arena, Engineer Mohammed Babakobi. Now, can you tell us about your life, your family background, and everything we need to know about your early life, Engineer Babakobi?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, esteemed participants.
So please, can you increase a little bit the audio? All right, thank you.
Are you okay? Okay. Afternoon, esteemed participants. As you know, I'm Engineer Babakobi Mohammed. I'm from Ilorin in Kwara State, Nigeria. It's in that Ilorin that I completed my primary education and secondary education. Before, in 1979, I went to the Kwara State College of Technology School of Basic Studies, where I did a year there before I left the country for the then Soviet Union, and where in 1986, I obtained a master's degree in civil and industrial engineering. I came home immediately after and joined the NYC scheme. I practiced in Enugu under the consultancy firm of Ernst & Associates with the principal, Engineer Chike Amobi, His Royal Highness. Here, I learned the commercial engineering practice. Basically, what we do there, do designs, and we also supervise and monitor construction activities of clients. I completed the NYC and joined immediately the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing in September of 1987 as a pupil civil engineer. Over the years, I worked in the ministry with all its transition from works and housing to environment and housing, from there to housing and urban development, back to works and housing. Through the years, I did designs of various government infrastructure projects and buildings. And I was here in 2006 as a chief engineer. I was appointed as the head of the MDG unit, that's the Millennium Development Goals unit. In addition to implementing the targets and goals of that sector, I also engaged in the implementation of zonal intervention projects of the members of the National Assembly. I left this assignment in 2014. 9 years I was there, and I was also the principal licensing officer of the ministry to the National Assembly. I left here in 2014, I think, and I was posted to Ministry of Niger Delta Development, Department of Infrastructure Development, where I did a brief stint of about 2 months before I was moved again to Ministry of Transportation, Federal Ministry of Transportation, as the Director of Railways or Director of Rail Transport Services. By 2021, I was moved first to PSI, that is Public Service Institute, for training and a co-training / facilitator. And then I was posted 3 months later to Federal Ministry of Sport, where I completed my career and retired in January 2022. So I am. Since that time, I've been engaged in the private practice, basically engineering consultants, report writing.
Let me take you back quickly.
Yes,
to what inspired you to study engineering? And how did your education in Russia prepare you for a diverse and successful career you had in the public service?
Okay. First of all, I was inspired by the late Engineer Kazun, who was the area engineer of Ministry of Works in Kwara State then. And he also a graduate of Russian University. So as fate will have it, I happen to go to Russia as well. But I've always wanted to be an engineer. I am interested and fascinated by the ability of humans to transform space, to provide objects for use, and take any raw material, turning them to useful articles that is used for development. So when I see a bridge being built, I'm very interested. I remember near my school in those days, Fnse, one of the foreign companies in Nigeria, were building the dual carriageway near my school. You will not believe if I tell you that after lunch, I'm there till 6 p.m. Then I learned about bulldozer, scrapers, compactors. I know all these things before I even finished secondary school. So I decided to pursue the career in engineering. Russia education is a very excellent one. It empowers you both theoretically and practically. And if you look at the course of study, that is civil and industrial engineering, it's just a direct transliteration from Russia to English, civil and industrial engineering. Civil means buildings of any kind, and industrial means infrastructure relating to roads, railroads, water projects, all kind of. But at the time I started the master's degree, got the direct master degree program, but with the concentration now, I concentrated on structural engineering bias. So I was well prepared. Part of the program of that is the technology, organization, and economic of construction and infrastructure or building. That's part of the program, very intensive, that aspect, and as well as steel construction and special structures. So these are
the most memorable or interesting moment during your university days.
one of those things that I can say, generally, throughout my 6.5 years in Russia, was quite interesting. From the academic aspect of it, I can tell you the fact that the coursework that happens at the end of every year is quite interesting. It allow you to bring all the theoretical part into design, desk design, and we go and defend. And that the commentary and the exposition of the lecturers or the interviewers during exams is very interesting. You practically see the physical side of what the theory is like. That is one aspect of life. To the leisure aspect, I enjoy a lot of traveling across Europe. I enjoyed mixing up with Nigerians, partying, and just, an environment of harmonious living together. And it was jolly, jolly, jolly all the way. So these are the interesting parts that still up to today give me some sense of nostalgia. Yes.
You were involved in a lot of MDG projects, which you highlighted. Can you reflect on your role in enhancing urban renewal and slum upgrading through the MDG projects?
Basically, our MDG targets 9 goal 11, I think, if I can remember. This with slum upgrading and urban renewal. It involves creation of new municipal infrastructure and upgrading of existing ones. So part of the component of that is if you take an area, maybe a slum or a rural or semi-rural community, the issue is to provide them potable water, to bring power, to construct roads, that is minor access roads around this community. In other words, improve their standard of living by providing these facilities. So we were able to do a lot. There are projects that involve suburban areas where we provide power to, where we have done road construction works. In other words, it opens up these areas. And do you know, we have scoring, and the housing sector then did well in the scoring of the MDGs, despite the low allocation of funds to that particular sector compared to others. But we were able to accomplish a lot. And then if you had that one, because by 2009, I started this program in 2006. By 2009, constituency or zonal intervention projects were added to our schedule for the unit. We call it MDG unit. That gave us the opportunity to do a lot of rural development, providing access to the rural areas, bringing power to them, and doing a lot of water projects, classroom projects, place of social interaction, and commercial facilities like markets, health facilities like cottage hospitals, and it's countless. It's countless. I remember in 2014 alone, we delivered close to 206 classroom blocks across the country. But we learned a lot of lessons from there also. We were able to get a lot of economic commendation from traditional rulers, community, social organizations, religious leaders. So it was quite interesting and fulfilling for me. Another area, but there's a lot of lessons to be learned from there. There's a lot of lessons. Most of the issues that we did that time were not, especially in the aspect of constituency projects, were not users-driven or initiated projects. So you find out that in some cases, to get their buy-in and ownership is one challenge. So the ministry then developed a paper to the National Assembly to let there be community participation in the need assessments in the first place. to let there be good project preparation, so that once you identify the need, you are able to go on to the ministry or the agency that will implement, who will do a preliminary design, come out with an estimate, so that this project can be completed. And so as a result of that, some of the principals agree with us and they did like that, but some we couldn't achieve that aim. So therefore, you see that some of the projects along the line were not completed. Not because the contractor absconded or anything, but because fund was no longer coming for that project. Especially when you change during elections, that project kind of lost one way or the other. Another area of lesson that I learned is the area of maintenance, and collaboration with the local authorities. That has to be strengthened and deepened. I'm sure it's been done now. I'm not sure it's been done now, but it is very crucial, because some of these things that we did, especially street lights and some of the community-based water supply schemes, are gone into extinction. They have gone into extinction. That is colossal waste of resources because of lack of maintenance, because of lack of buy-in of the government at the local level. So this should be strengthened and deepened, so that when you have some of these projects that have been implemented, they can be sustained. So this is my
let me take you to other areas that you also worked. You were involved in the construction of the National Stadium and also other facilities within the complex, and also you were involved in the committees for toll gates and aircraft maintenance center. Can you share some, can you give us some overview of your involvement in these projects?
Okay. Let me start with the aircraft maintenance center. It's basically a private endeavor. I was picked by somebody who knew my trajectory in steel design, and my role there was purely to design the facilities. We have the engine of our workshop. It's the size of a football field under one roof. So here the challenge was to do a black span steel construction, to deal with the issue of sonic booms because of the testing shells for aircraft. That was possibly completed, but that is largely my role there. I work under one of my directors there, who was a friend to the consultants. And so it's purely a private endeavor. The other one you mentioned is, which one is that? Mr. Babe? Can you hear me?
Yeah. The National Stadium. I can hear you. The National Stadium.
Okay, in the National Stadium, you mentioned the Aircraft Maintenance Center and what again? Can you remember?
I said the toll gates.
Okay, the toll gate. The toll gate was when government expanded that facilities, extended to some other roads, like Ibadan, Ife toll gate, like Aba, Port Harcourt highways, and some others. I think about then Benin, Asaba. No, not Benin, Benin Sapele. So these were the toll gates about eight locations. And then there was a task team that was organized by the ministry then. I was part of the task team, and I was involved in the structural design of the toll gate as well as the supervision of them. And basically,
sir?
Yes. So that was completed. Most of them were completed, but when later government changed the policy and moved all the toll gates away, they all went with it. Now you come to the National Stadium, which for me is a very interesting aspect. I was a member of the task force. I was the most junior among the 6 other members who are directors, deputy directors. Then I was just I was an assistant chief. So primarily why I was invited was the recognition I gained when I did ICAP Army projects. In the Army projects, I did a lot of special structures. Like they had pavements for every AVS, that is armored vehicles. They need to enter the barracks. You need to provide pathway for them to enter into their sheds. And I also did the sheds. These are vehicles 80 tons, 100 tons, when they are fully loaded and armed. I did that, and I did churches in Ibadan, in Enugu, and one other place that are 45 meters span, 50 covered. The gallery are covered. I was invited to come and look at the design and supervise the construction. So eventually, when the project started proper, we did all the project planning and preparation, assessments of the design, pros and cons, and cost evaluation. So when the project eventually starts, I primarily sat in the package A. What we call package A is what is known as the membo, and later the fellow drum was added to it. So, and then I still fulfill my task force duties. I do the project document administration from my office to all the other packages, the Games Village and other facilities in what we call package B, which consists of the sport hall, the gymnasium, and the swimming pool, hockey pitch. So I still do the project document administration for those ones. But primarily, I remain in the main board and I look at the designs, we monitor and check if the deliveries, the outputs are commensurate and in line with the agreed scope and content. So this was my role. But later, during that project, I was given a new role as the project coordinator. So in that role, I was able to now clearly have direct supervision and jurisdiction over most of the things that is being done. For example, we are looking at the expansion of that member. We got that statement that we collaborated with Julius Berger. And then I also learned practically some other things from them, from the company called Fiverr and JBL, because the roof, on the roof especially, the roof, which is a cable membrane structure, I know it very well theoretically, but the practical construction of it, I got a lot of experience from that. And then having completed the project, we were shadowed with the assignment by the president then, President Obasanjo, by the former President Obasanjo,
I will take you back to toll gate.
Yes.
In other countries of the world, most of the revenues derived for the maintenance of road infrastructures, and also even construction of new roads are derived from the toll gates. I remember in 2013, we visited the construction of the Bay Bridge in San Francisco. It's about $6.4 billion project. Bulk of the money for that project were generated through the tolling system. You were involved in the toll gate committee, and you also mentioned here that at a point the toll gates were dismantled, while in other countries they are installing toll gates. Why is it that in our own system, why we are there dismantled? And why is it that having served in the Ministry of Transportation, we are coming to Ministry of Transportation anyway, that we don't have toll gates in Nigeria, except for few ones that they have just concession, Kefi to Makurdi project going
yes.
on that was just completed, and the Makurdi to Enugu, that is also going to be towed after completion?
Yeah, I think. Okay, sorry. In fact, I was involved in the infrastructure aspects of the toll gate construction. I wasn't involved in the operations and collection of toll and whatever they do with it. But I know that both committees in charge of the management and the one building infrastructure are all under one roof in Federal Ministry of Works and Housing then. And but general knowledge has it that the revenue gathered from the toll gate will be deployed to the maintenance of those facilities. And even the part of the road on the where the toll gates are located. So I cannot speak very much on what they did with it eventually. I cannot say much about it.
Yeah. We still, I know some of our participants may have one or two questions to ask on that or contributions. Now, you've been involved in a lot of projects, as you said. How would you describe your experience managing large-scale infrastructure projects such as the rail modernization, projects in Nigeria? As someone with vast experience in project execution, what do you believe is the key to ensuring quality and efficiency in such complex projects?
That is good. First of all, if you talk specifically railways, it's a very multi-virus and multi-dimensional infrastructure. As a project for infrastructure construction, there are a lot of phases you have to undergo to get a complete project, even a greenfield or brownfield. First of all, what needs to be done? One is to, first of all, approach the project in a systematic manner, allowing you to gain viability and bankability of any railway projects. And that has to be underpinned by rigorous analysis, economic benefit analysis, financial, about feasibility studies before you can state this is the project I'm going to start. Then before you go into the problems of land acquisition and compensation issues, then before now you come to the issues of preliminary design. Once the project is approved, you go into design. So one thing that I think is very, very important here in terms of ensuring successful implementation and assuring of quality delivery is the enhancement of local capacity, because nobody can defend your interests more than yourselves. Unfortunately for the railway sector, we don't have much of that capacity, maybe as consultancy entity or contractor. So I will canvass for enhancement in local capacity, which government is doing and which has to be intensified. So that is one area that I think is very, very important. Also, we have to deal with so many challenges that has come into this project execution, most especially the financing and funding aspects. And then the issue concerning funding. Yes, funding, and then the project concentration.
Yeah. What were the key milestones in the
see,
Abuja,
one thing leads
Kaduna,
to the other. The financing.
Okay.
Come again, please. The key milestones in Abuja.
I was asking, what were the key milestones in the Abuja, Kaduna, and Lagos, Ibadan railway projects under your supervision? And how do you view their impact today?
Now, first of all, these two routes that you have mentioned now, Abuja, Kaduna, and Lagos, Ibadan, are segments of the entire network Lagos-Kano projects. By the time I came to the ministry, the Abuja-Kaduna project was on the verge of completion, led for certain opportunities that were not in place, improvement to the stations, power supply issues, protective fencing, freight yards in both Abuja and Kaduna. These are the issues, and before, in less than 1 year, when I got there, we were able to unlock the problems with financing by government providing their own counterpart fund and allowing the financier, which is basically in this case the Exim Bank, release fund to the contractor to continue and complete the project. And then you see that in about 1 year, 15 months later, when I joined the ministry, the then former President Buhari flagged off the project in June or July 2016 for commercial operation. So, and that's just a segment. It's just standalone. And today, it's not surprising that we are only, running passenger operation on this line. The same thing goes for, but Lagos Ibadan. I started the project and completed as a director of the railways in the transportation ministry. So this is a double track line. It's been completed, commissioned, and today running principally passenger services. Some level of freight operation has commenced, and which is very commendable, because one of those aim and objective of government in developing railway line is to contribute to the economic growth of the country as an high capacity, high efficient transport mode should be able to deal with the issue of freight, which is the economy itself. So for that, the milestone was I started and it was completed under my jurisdiction as the director. And then we have other lines. You want to ask?
How would you describe the current state of rail transport in Nigeria, and what do you see as the prospects for its future development?
Today, in Nigeria, the current state is characterized by restricted access to train services. Quite all right. There are developments going on, but what we have that can provide widespread access, which are those lines that were constructed during the colonial era, the narrow gauge lines, are not in the good, perfect, functional state. They are characterized by poor maintenance, obsolete equipment, and generally poor condition. So they cannot bring about the standard service or performance that is required of them. Therefore, the services they can provide is highly limited and is very creaky and unpredictable. But if you look at our development of the standard gauge also, which we have done in Lagos, Ibadan, Abuja, Kaduna, Itakpe, Warri, these are all segments of the main lines. You could see that we are doing skeletal services as far as railway is concerned, because the traffic density is lower than the threshold that is desirable. Today, overall, railway is doing less than their benchmark in 1984. where the railway accounted for 3 million tons of freight and about 12 million passenger traffic. So today, we are less than 5% of those figures. So we still have a lot of room for improvement. So what are the palliatives? What's supposed to be done? Government-led initiatives has been activated, but has also been encumbered. You have, in between these, you have the 25 years railway development vision for Nigeria, which government undertook because they took cognizance of the vast area and large and fast rising population of the country, and opted for railway, or make railway do a big comeback after decades of neglect in favor of road transport. So therefore, we try to do the strategic plan, which is based on three approaches. That is, modernize the railway, rehabilitate the existing ones, and stabilize. Today, that program is kind of updated, run very vast, behind schedule.
Let me take you on that, because I'm very passionate about this, because
I wanted to tell you.
Say,
go ahead.
Yeah, I believe you will touch it. I'm passionate about what you are saying because I am a railway boy. Yeah. My father worked with the Nigerian Railway Corporation, and also I lived in the railway quarters. I remember I could travel to my village from Enugu to my village using the train. As a child, growing up, I saw petroleum products being conveyed using the train. And unfortunately, if you pass through some of the cities that had these railway lines, I think it was in Jos, I went for supervision, I saw a building sitting on a railway line. If you go to some places, you see markets just sitting on railway lines. And what really went wrong? Because we talked about 1984, that we are not doing up to 5% of what we did in 1984. What went wrong? And again, what we are talking about comeback, what efforts or what is government desperately doing to ensure that the railway system in Nigeria is restored to what it used to be and even better?
Okay, first of all, what you see is the sort of neglect that unfortunately the railway has experienced in Nigeria. After the independence or post-colonial era, the railway went into steady decline. What are the reasons for this? The purpose and focus that the colonial administration has for railway were gone. It is left for Nigerian managers, public servants, and who are not well prepared for that purpose. There's no culture of customer orientation or cost efficiency. And government is on its own also, were very unwilling to provide subsidy because there's no concrete target for railway market. For example, during the colonial era, the fact that they need to export raw material from Nigeria and bring in material for the industries and equipment, sustain the railway and maintain high level of subsidy. But after post-colonial, government were not willing, and you can see that dwindling demand for railway in favor of roads, which is, in terms of charges, cheaper, have high frequency, have high door-to-door connectivity. So for off-takers, they prefer to go through roads, despite all the limitations of road transport. So what we experienced to revive the railway, government has embarked on several initiatives aimed at enhancing both freight and passenger services. And one of them is what I was just explaining, we had the 25 years vision for railway development. We've had concessioning. We've tried our hand at concessioning, bringing private sector to come and help with the development and rejuvenation of the narrow gauge. And then we also have gone through development of standard gauge. So most of these projects, despite the opportunities that abound in the country for development of railways, you see that we are lagging behind. For example, if you talk about railway development modernization project, like Lagos-Kano, which is actually a duplicate of the existing narrow gauge, and which calls for a review of how we develop standard gauge in the country, ought to have been completed in 2012. Today, 12 years later, more than a decade, they have not done up to 30% or 25%. And if you look at the Port Harcourt Maiduguri, which was also to be concession at that time, we have now embarked economically appropriate at the rehabilitation of the entire line as a brownfield project instead of doing another standard gauge. This is, had it been, we had dealt with the Lagos-Kano also narrow gauge, and it went through assessments, financial, economic, engineering, technical assessment. We wouldn't have opted with the standard gauge we are doing there. It's very expensive, and I doubt whether the country, given the strained financial situation we find ourselves now, can complete that project on time. So government has done that, but it has been encumbered. It has been encumbered by financing. So not that we don't have opportunities to develop railway. We have so many opportunities, but financing has been a problem. Yes.
About the narrow and the standard gauge now, can you share some light on the controversial Eastern Railway Corridor? That's the stretching from Port Harcourt to Maiduguri. Why was it a narrow gauge and not standard gauge like others? Can you educate our audience on the difference between the two?
Okay, first of all, let's divide what is narrow gauge and what is standard gauge. The difference is only in the width, the distance between the inner edges of the rails. There are two parallel rails. The distance between their inner edge is the gauge. You don't differentiate them. The standard gauge have 1435 mm, that's technically speaking, and the narrow gauge have 1067 mm. It's not, narrow gauge is not an old system. It's not outdated. It's not obsolete. Countries have.
Sorry, you said can you call the difference again? The
difference is in the width. That is the
width.
The width, the distance between the lateral distance between the inner edge of the rails, whereby you have standard gauge 1435 millimeters, and you have the narrow gauge 1067 millimeters. This is principally, in terms of infrastructure, the difference. You can also say that speed, standard gauge has capacity for higher speed than narrow gauge. What are the difference in terms of operation and commercial speed? Maybe 15, 25 kilometers per hour difference. But narrow gauge, we still do. We have new coaches, new carriages, new wagons, new locomotives in narrow gauge. So some countries have just completed new narrow gauge line. And in Nigeria, in the beginning, when we came into transport ministry, what we met on ground, we pursue it. We look for financial for Port Harcourt, Maiduguri, and branch lines that has been assigned to it for over 3 years. We couldn't get any commitment from either IFI, International Financial Institutions, our development partners, the Chinese, for the financing. It's a huge financing endeavor. And what happened? The existing narrow gauge, you can rehabilitate at 5 times lower in terms of cost, and it will still do the same work. If you look at it today, the cost of developing the SGR, Port Harcourt Maiduguri, is about 6-7 times more than the rehabilitation they are carrying out today. including the cost of new narrow gauge lines, extension to Bonny Deep Seaport, extension to Owerri, including the extension to Onena, and then Asa, and then Inewi. So it's making economic sense to rather rehabilitate the existing narrow gauge. It will do the same. And before, we are not looking at that. But eventually, with more and more exposure to these things, personally, I reckon that we cannot start this project without clear study of its economic benefit and economic sustainability. It's non-tested railway market in terms of numbers. Nobody has tested that route. Even Lagos Kano, if we had subjected Lagos Kano to the same rigorous assessment, we wouldn't have take a standard gauge as an option, especially when there is a duplicate. They are running on the same route. So they run on the same route. You could sit down in the standard gauge railway and be looking at the narrow gauge line. Why are we so credit worthy or so rich that you can afford such a duplication? So today, you can have a functional railway, Port Harcourt, Maiduguri, narrow gauge, and to do the same work. It will do the same work. So a lot of people think that, oh, when they say the perception is when you say narrow gauge, they think of that old locomotive and those wagons and carriages that have been used before. No, it's no longer the case. It's not the case. We have new equipment and manufacturers that they can be procured, and then you have your railway services. Okay.
You listen to our last
that
guest
is exactly why
inside the arena.
We are doing revision of the narrative.
You listen to our last guest inside the arena who spoke on the challenges. That's talking about the MD of Boa Cement Company. He mentioned how many trucks that were leaving the depot for conveying gas to their plants every day on daily basis. And that is just one segment, cement. You now talk about, these are not trucks carrying cement, these are just trucks carrying, gas to their plants. You talk of those carrying cement, you talk of those carrying other things. And every day on our roads, you encounter these trucks, different accidents. And he mentioned that even on daily basis, there's trucks are being stolen. So, and you were in that, one of the participants. Can you tell her, or as you being a director, Department of Rail Transport Services, Federal Ministry of Works, just like Sonny Okosun in 1983 sang in his song, Which Way Nigeria and Which Way to Go. I'm asking you, which way to go for the Nigerian transportation system?
Thank you very much. I think the last guest, the last speaker made that very excellent contribution. And it exposes the feasibility of railways over other transport modes. Railway perform best when you have large volume of freight, bulk volume from the mineral basin, raw materials to be transported over long distance. That is where the advantage railway really become very obvious. It's cheaper, it's reliable, safer, more energy efficient, and environmentally friendly. So a good railway, like in Brazil, there's an operation in Brazil involving freight railway, running about 110 wagons. It's 1,700 kilometers, 1.7 kilometers long. The train itself carry about 100 John. So the advantage of railway for this such long distance travel in terms of its high capacity, efficient transport is the best. It's what everybody does. Nigeria today, we have not developed our railways to that level. The only widespread or wide coverage providing corridor today is the narrow gauge, Lagos, Kano, and Port Harcourt, Maiduguri. Other development, standard gauge, are still in their infancies. And I will want collaboration with the private sector. Get their involvement either as co-investors or people that are in the position to sponsor projects, like a syndicate of many of them. For example, what that the last speaker spoke about, from areas in Edo State to Sokoto, carrying biofuel alone by truck. And there's so many trucks with all the limitations, accidents, environmental issues. So it will be better to have,
because we keep on saying involvement of private sectors. I have visited the Gautrain project in South Africa. I know you know more about this. And this is about over 80% private investment, and government contributed about 20%. Today, it is working. It has removed 100,000 vehicles on the Johannesburg, Pretoria highway. And you see, within a very short distance, you are in Pretoria. And it's working, is functional. And I think it's a 20-year, public-private partnership agreement. And I believe in a couple of years now, they should be handing over to government. Why is it that it doesn't work in Nigeria? What is the bottleneck? We mention countries where these things work. In fact, in most countries, most of the capital projects are driven by the private sectors. Why is it that most of our budgets are all going to infrastructural development? Where are the private sector? What is the bottleneck? You have been in the system, you were in the system. I know when you were there must have been engagement with the private sector. What was their fear? What was the bottleneck? What is the problem?
Okay, you can explain this from several points of view. Majorly, first is the Nigeria inability to approach railway development specifically in a systematic manner, assuring the developers or financiers that this is a railway that can contribute to the debt repayment and repayment of the loan. When you do prestige projects and you put projects in areas where they cannot generate enough traffic density, then there's a problem for investors. They don't want to come. Though they will tell you it's okay, they don't want to come. That is number one. Number two is also the type of financing that we need. Railway is very capital intensive and needs a large investment, which government today, Nigeria cannot cover. So you need loan or grant or PPP arrangement to execute these projects. Now, with that type of obstacle, it is very difficult. That is one. Two, you look at the bureaucratic processes. It's very long and tedious to get financial financial institutions, our development partners, that ought to have started from the project preparation stage so that they can lend us the technical and financial expertise as to how we can develop and showcase the viability and bankability of our projects. They can also help mitigate the risk or give us a plan at mitigating risk for investors. That has not been done very deeply. What we are running today is government obtaining loan and then also providing from its own budget the fixed costs, their upfront cost. And in some cases today, government has not even been able to deal with the fixed cost, that is to settle it. Like in many cases, Port Harcourt Maiduguri rehabilitation, I don't think that has happened up to now. And Kanu Kaduna, I don't think that has happened up to now. So you can see that we have problem with finance. If you cannot generate your own fixed cost that you put on ground as a commitment for this project, or allow investors come in or private sector come in and deal with it. Locally, domestically, I doubt, I don't know, unless there will be a syndicate. From what I've seen when I was in transport ministry, that we can get investor with that level of credit worthiness that can handle roadways. We are talking billions of dollars. We are talking billions of dollars. Like the one mentioned the other day by the MD of Goa, that train, the price per kilometer will over between 3 million to 4 million per kilometer. Okay? So if you calculate it, and that distance is almost over 800 kilometers. So if you look at it, it's billions we are looking at. So how do we raise such funds? There are many ways of doing this, but government has to provide the enabling environment and deepen our interaction and engagement with the IFIs, other railway sponsors, our project sponsors, to achieve that. If a company like BUA will be ready to join with others as co-investors to build, for example, a line from Benin to Sokoto. Somewhere like Dangote Industries is doing refinery. And I wonder how they want to transport all that product for Nigeria by trucking. Now that is a lot of pollution and opportunity for road conflict and fatal accidents. So, and noise. And the fact that our road, we cannot last if they are subjected continuously to that type of heavy axle load traffic. So you find out that Nigeria engages and invests a lot of money year in, year out to maintain the roads, because what's to be on the road are on the road transport. Yeah.
No,
so clearly for private sector to be engaged in this, we have to opt our act. We have to present viable and bankable projects. We have to lessen political consideration for choice of the project. We have to be systematic at project selection and preparation. So these issues are very, very, very important.
Yes. Now let's, as we wind down, let us, touch the other aspect of your life. I know if we talk about railway today, we may not, I don't think we have enough time to exhaust all we have to talk about today on railways. Now we talk about your personal life. Do you plan to write any book or any memoir documenting your experience or achievements, for the benefit of the next generation?
I would very much like to, but I'm not prepared. I've not thought about it yet, but I would like to do that.
What does it need? What do you require to make you prepared?
Nothing. Maybe when I'm settled, I'm still working, I'm still struggling. Maybe when I finally retire, but I can start preparing at any time.
We are not fully retired. Okay. Do you see yourself taking on advisory, consultancy or mentorship roles to continue to impact on the engineering or the private, sectors?
I'm very much prepared and always ready. Yes. That is short answer. I'm very much prepared and ready.
Talking about engineering, you're a fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. What would you recommend? What is your recommendation, to strengthen the engineering education and practice in Nigeria?
First of all, I will want us to develop and establish very effective and efficient postgraduate link with the academic institutions. I would like us to contribute to research in institutions on engineering matters. A close collaboration with NSC, like Nigeria Society of Engineers, and the industries, and the new direction for engagement with government. For example, some of the projects we are doing in Nigeria here, I know that Nigerian engineers can contribute, handle most of them, but you find the foreign expertise are always the ones engaged. So government has to come in directly to interfere so that you can develop local capacity and also enhance knowledge transfer. If that should happen, it has to enjoy direct intervention of government, like they do for railway program in some countries. Some of the design entities are partly owned by government and the private sector. So the continued education in particular field is assured and is enhanced. The government also come in to aid the society, an organization like the Society of Engineers, in terms of exposure to new trends, okay? And also help to capture fresh students, fresh graduates, young engineers for capacity building and performance enhancement. These are things that government can easily sponsor sector from one sector to the other. So this is one way, in other words, a clean and more deepened collaboration between the Society of Engineers and government, and also the organized private sectors. I also want the NSC to be able to establish extramural engagement, so that people that are involved in construction, even these local small dwelling units that we have experienced collapse and all sorts of things, or where you have manufacturing industries with equipment just going off downtime because of minor defect or fault, that can be rectified in Nigeria. Mostly they have to wait for the foreigners to come and do them. Why can't we, Society of Engineers, have good collaboration with these entities, and they should recognize and know and be informed that this type of issues can be piloted by entities under the umbrella of the Society of Engineers. Nigeria needs that. This country needs that to enhance technical development, engineering development, homegrown practice. Yeah.
Do you have any ambition to venture into politics or take on other public service roles in future?
For me, public service is like a clarion call to come and serve the fatherland. If such opportunity arises, I will gladly take it. Politics, I don't know. I don't know whether I can engage in politics.
You don't know. May not be the correct answer.
I'm not giving it a lot of consideration before.
Giving it a thought.
Yeah, you need, because if somebody like me will go into politics, I must have the reason I'm going there. I must be able to say, this is my aim, and it's going to be on principle. And ultimately, to service the people, first of all, not to be selfish, to be interested in people, to look at government program as a politician or holding political office and ensure its implementation to the letter, and fight for the implementation of it. So such things, before I can go into it, I have to be ready. I have to give it a lot of thought, especially in our own political environment.
You know, those in the public service normally face a lot of challenges from politicians. That's what I'm coming to that. Now, I believe maybe you can share with us before I ask you the question. What were the toughest challenges you faced during your career, and how you were able to overcome them? And were there moments during your career, moments of doubt or significant setbacks? And how did these challenges shape your outlook on life and also on your work? And also, were there deep political interferences?
Of course, there will always be political interference. If you look at the agencies in the public services, they are headed by ministers or DGs who are appointed political heads, and they are also the chief executives. And they come to the ministry with the manifesto of their administration or party to deliver those ideas. And it's left for the public servants, for the civil servants to help to implement them. But in the process of implementation, there are certain norms and practices that may not fit totally into the guideline and provisions of the rules guiding government business. So in these cases, you'll be at variance with the political head. But there's something in the civil service they call manage the minister, manage the chief executive, the political head. So you have to adhere to those principles. Unfortunately, in some cases, you cannot have, your say may not be heard. And you may find yourself at a kind of vulnerability stage if you are not careful. I've seen it over the years. All my time in service, about 33 years, I've seen it happen and happen again. But also, don't let us say it's only from the side of politicians that you find this in other cases. Also from the part of the civil servants too. You find this type of thing, even more so on the part of the civil servants, when they decide to be complacent, when they decide to be ineffective. Of course, you will hand the displeasure of the political head. So these are the key. This is how far I want to stay.
Why I ask is this:
yes, sir.
You were the public, you were a career civil servant, and you got to the peak of your career, and you've shared the experiences with politicians and how their political manifestos have to influence some certain decisions, what they bring on board. Now, as a politician, coming to the Ministry of Transportation as the minister, will your own approach be different from the conventional approach of typical Nigerian politicians having served in the ministry before?
There will be
the manifesto of your political party.
Yes. There will be no political party will develop a manifesto that is anti-development or anti-welfare of their people. No. So if today, if I'm a minister, looking at our manifesto, I will do the needful and the right thing. And also provide leadership to that entity to do what is needful. And we will avoid frivolity. Like the Minister of Transport, we will completely avoid prestige projects, like trying to carry railway line to my hometown. If it's not viable and there's nothing the railway will carry, I will not do it. I will not do it. So, and I am sure I will have the back of the president to ensure that we are doing what is right by thoroughly engaging and explaining, in articulate manner what is and where it is and how we can get to the goals we set or the target we set. So it won't be radically different from any minister.
Looking forward to that. As we wrap it up, what, outside your professional life, what hobbies, activities do you enjoy?
When time permits, I do one of my major recreation is table tennis. I do table tennis. I enjoy outing with friends and family. So and then I travel. Traveling, I think, is one of my best hobbies. I like to travel. Yes, outside this.
What do you give to young engineers aspiring to follow your footsteps in both public and private sectors?
The line is breaking.
Yes, would you give to young engineers who may be aspiring to follow your footsteps in both the private and public sectors?
Okay. First of all, they have to realize that the engineering profession is in two phases. When you are in school, being coached, being developed to become an engineer, and after you have completed that and you come to the commercial space and you are now practicing. Two things are important. One is to maintain focus on whichever aspect you are dealing with. Is it design? Is it construction supervision? Is it monitoring you are doing? And also, you must do self-development. You must self-develop. Don't just eventually. And that is one of the benefits I learned going to school in Russia. The training is such that you must be self-accountable as an engineer. So those two are important. Those two are important. And God help, they must also, for the old and matured engineers, they must also give space and allow for tutoring, performance enhancements. What can I call this? Mentoring. They should be able to do mentoring. They should coalesce people to come and attend mentoring exercises. So, and they too, they must be ready. Experience endeavor. Key. Yeah. Yes, Mr. Wayne.
Final note, what is your wish for Nigeria? And what is your prayer for Nigerians in the coming year?
That's a big one. First of all, if you say prayer, I always pray, and I will go to pray for this present administration. For them to realize the good things that they plan for Nigeria, to be able to deliver those goodies, democratic dividend to Nigerians. And for Nigeria, I wish that Nigeria will become a prosperous, advanced, self-reliant country that will be the proud of every Nigeria, wherever they may be, across the world. Those are the issues. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Engineer Mohammed Olatunji Babakobi, fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, our guests or Inside the Arenas season 36, and the very last for the year 2024. We want to say a very big thank you to you for coming in today as our guest. We are now going to be moving to the next segment of the program, which is the corner kick segment. And that is when we allow our participants to, direct their questions. But this one may not be indirect free kick. May not be direct free kick, indirect free kick. To direct their questions to, to you. So it's my pleasure we have our rules. If you have a question, that's for our participants. If you have a question, you hit the reaction button and then click on raise hand, and then we will unmute you to ask your question. So when you click on raise hand, we'll see you and then you ask your question. So please, can you? Okay. Engineer Camila. Okay, you can ask your question, sir. You have been unmuted.
Thank you, the host, engineer landlord. Okay, yes, landlord for the entire of Abuja. And thank you, our guests. It has been a very, very beautiful engagement and very, very revealing, as well as promising for Nigerian engineers. I think we have a lot to gain from this discussion. I will want to invite the host, the guest, for maybe a discussion on any of the lines with the fellows of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. I want him, if he can give me a date so that on topic. He has reviewed so many things, and I want our senior engineers to get to know this. I noticed there are not enough participants on this gathering, but on that larger platform, he will be able to get a lot of education to our members. That's just an application or a request. And my question to him is to say that why did the Nigerian Railway or Nigerian Ministry of Transport locate the University of Railway in Daura? Why in Daura? If he has any insight, is it political because the president? Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So can I respond?
Okay, sir.
Okay. First of all, as for inviting me, you choose a date and just let me know. I will make myself available once I'm. That is on one part. If you ask about the location of this university, we try to make the university a regional institution. And in the beginning, the choices were Ajaokuta, because in the future of railway development, Ajaokuta will become like a hub. We also choose the whole center, which is Zaria. And then the issue of cross-border railway and interconnectivity, West Africa interconnectivity emerged. So we have best to put this railway. The ministry then decided that the best place is not even in the railway, within the big railway installation and establishment. And the closest then that came to mind was Daura. Don't forget, our railway from Kanu reaching Katsina to Daura before former president came into power as president. That's always been. It comes Daura, Katsina, Jibia, and has a 20-kilometer extension into Mara, the Niger Republic. And West Africa interconnectivity engagement. You will see that other countries are coming to contribute to this. So how do we, not far from their own countries, situate a university for transportation with emphasis on railway that can provide good academic and learning environment? And we pick that place. They just mentioned Daura. It's actually between, it's some distance from Daura. Maybe you can say that it's in the outside the city of Daura, but it's a standalone place. Maybe it's within the district of Daura, but it's not in Daura town, or some people have come to, confront me. But it's there. It's a very good learning environment and easily attract people from other countries within the partners in the sub-region, West Africa sub-region especially. So that was the whole reason why we did that. If you are talking of the location.
Engineer Frank Ibi.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, our host, Engineer Ben, and our guests. You can hear me? Yes.
It's gone.
I don't know, because
it's very difficult to.
We have a clamoring that you can hear me?
No,
Yes,
it's
we can.
breaking. Your line
We
is
have
breaking.
a clamoring that our. You can hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
We clamor that that technocrats should be part of politics. But you seem not to have given it good consideration. That just to throw more in the why? Is it that you are shying away, or you have plans for it later? You are a technocrat with the experience in infrastructure development. People like you in governance will save the same. And I'm sure you have people oriented intention based on your experience and what you have been.
Thank you very much. I actually, in the last annual general meeting of Institution of Social Engineers, this type of conversation took place. Now, why don't we have engineers, technocrats in the politics and be able to contest and win and occupy top positions in government as public appointee? Is a very good thing. It's a very good thing. And for me, to join politics, everybody's a politician, by the way. Now I've joined the party, my own party, in my ward, in Kwara State, but I'm not in active political participation. Maybe in the near future, I'll be responding to go. I've not planned for it. Not that I'm of capacity to venture into active politics in Nigeria. So, and you need to do it moderately. You need to be able to have the resources, the means to join party politics and even contest for any elected position. And you want to gather all this capability, not by diminishing your principles and eroding your focus of the reason why you want to join. So you have to really be prepared and you have a God-given opportunity to amass such resources to be able to deal with it. When I mean by resources, it's not money alone. You need people, you need supporters, you need goodwill for you to be able to do this effectively and efficiently. And then you can say, oh, this is a good politician, this is a good minister or what have you. So that one takes time to think about. So while you are thinking about if it comes, you drop, then you will see me, you will see my posters. Thank you. Yeah.
I think we'll take the final. Before we take the final question, there is a comment from the chat room, and it says, and I read, "Good to see you again, sir. Hello, sir. Good to see you again after 24 years. I had a stint as a youth corps member under your supervision on the JBN National Stadium project. They were piling then. Thank you for your patience with us then. You were our favorite." That is from Engineer Kemi Wosa, who today is a fellow of the society. Thank you so much, Engineer Kemi, for that fantastic comment. We take the final question, and after that, we wrap it up for today. Any other question? Okay. Patrick, Engineer Patrick Okonji. I've unmuted you, sir.
Okay. I just want to, on is more of a comment, just to commend my fellow Tavarish. I hope he understands what I mean. It's a Tavarish. So, because I studied in Russia as well.
Yes, comrade.
Yeah. So mine is just to mention that I don't believe that politics is the way to go. If we as a country want to develop, we don't necessarily need engineers to be in politics for the country to grow. All we need is to have strong institutions and less strong men. Rather, we have men with ideas. There are a number of countries in the world that do not have politicians as head or even in the ministries that achieved great things. Unfortunately, I am of the steel sector. In those days that when I went to Russia, there was the craze about development of the steel industry. And most of us went and studied metallurgical engineering. Unfortunately, today, most of the people that were very strong in the industry, they're all going, they're all dying off. So which means there's a bleak picture for our own generation. Like Paul Unongo recently died. He was the first minister of steel. And in those days when they were commissioning Alaja, he said, we owe it to posterity to deliver steel to Nigeria and arrange a proper smooth transfer of technology. That never happened. Then in those days as well, during one of the conferences I attended, Professor Fonja of UNIFE, Obafemi Awolowo University, made a prediction then, that was in 1982, that he doesn't see a kilogram or a gram of liquid steel coming out of Ajaokuta in his lifetime. He said this in 1982. The man just died as well, and it didn't happen. So if we really are serious, in this country, we need to be serious in developing the major industries, especially steel. Steel is the foundation of all production activities you can think of, but we are playing politics with it. If you watch what has been happening over the years, each government will come in, they say, steel is number one, they are going to do it. Okay, Obasanjo has engineering background. They made those pronouncements then. Nothing happened in his administration. The remaining presidents that came in, they were always hammering on steel development and the rest of it. Nothing happened. Recently, the present administration were making some great strides about developing steel. They said they were going to invite the Russians to come back to develop at Jakarta. But recently in the news, they are now saying they are not thinking about privatization or concessioning. So for me, we are not ready. So maybe the next generation, we do it. For my generation, I've lost hope. Thank you very much, moderator.
Hello?
Thank you very much, sir. I don't know if you have anything to say about that, our guest, before we go to the next segment, but I can see a hand. Oh, just 1 minute, sir. You will do that in 30 seconds so that we can go to the next segment, please. Engineer Taiwo. Please, can you kindly unmute? Oh, please, can you unmute and go on? Okay, thank you, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, the chief hosts, our able chairman, and the guests. My name is Engineer Tao. My just contribution is not really a question, but a sort of addendum in case, based on the experience of the guests. In every way, we know the advantage of using the railroad over the conventional road we are used to. We also know the sort of the longevity of the existing road now, maximum maybe like the minister said, maybe 6 to 7 years. Though we have something different with FCDA. But the problem is not unconnected with the use of heavy tonnage on our existing roads. So it's going to be a win-win situation if government can come out with a fiscal policy. I know, and we all know, that one of the impediments towards the exploitation and the use of the road is the truck transporters. It's a business, and they don't want anything to affect their interest. They will go and make because that one is done, they know that they are to last longer. Government, even on the maintenance of this whole, I'm of the opinion that the policy, not just a policy, a sort of enforcement that any do not allow to apply on our roads. Rather, they can use the rail, considering the number
We have exceeded 1 minute so that we can wrap it
from
up,
one
sir.
point to the other. Sorry. Yeah, let me just wrap it up. All I'm saying is that now Nigeria is going into the exploitation of mineral resources, which need a lot of convey from one place for government to enforce that any movement of heavy loads should ensure that.
I think we've lost him. Okay, so thank you very much. I once again want to say a very big thank you to all our guests, all our participants for today's inside the arenas. Let me quickly take us to the next segment of the program, which is the extra time. As I said earlier, we have 3 gifts for today. We have one of them. The other ones are heavy. I think I can be able to carry this. This is the second prize. That is Hisense microwave. We have the fridge, and also we have the standing fan. So 3 participants are going to be going home with this Christmas gift today. And the first question goes this way. Please, except we say go, don't send in any answer. The first question is, what is the name of his principal when he did his NYSC in Enugu? Go.
Okay.
In full.
Okay, thank you very much. The name.
Don't give the answer. They will give you they will send the answer and you will confirm.
Okay.
Okay, sir. What is the correct answer before we proceed to check?
Is the one given by...
No, what I want you to tell us the correct answer. What is the correct answer to the question? Who was your principal in Enugu when you did your NYSC?
Engineer Chike Amobi.
Chike Amobi. So can you quickly go through the chart to see who was the first to send in the correct answer?
I think
the
that
correct
is,
answer. Who was the first?
Olawale. No? Yeah.
Engineer Chike Amobi is the correct answer. Yes. Engineer Chike Amobi. Yes. So if you didn't send in the correct...
Sorry, please, Mr. Ben. I think Olawale Amobi first said just Chike Amobi, but okay, it's Olawale Emiola. Olawale Emiola, Engineer Chike Amobi. Olawale Emiola. That is correct.
Okay. Engineer Chike Amobi, Olawale Emiola. Okay. Can you please... Okay, let me get her. Olawale. Please, can you unmute your mic? Yeah. Okay, and show us your face also. Okay, let me add you so that I can see you clearly. Okay, fantastic. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Sorry.
Very well. Yes, I can.
All right. Where are you calling us from? Where did you join us from?
Lagos.
Lagos.
Yes,
I think you've won a prize before.
Yes, sir.
Oh, fantastic. Congratulations. So
Thank you
won the fridge, and you have between now and Friday to send somebody to pick it on your behalf. So if we don't see you before Friday, we are going to give it to the second person, the person that got the correct answer after you. So congratulations, and then with that, you are disqualified from participating in the next question.
Definitely. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, and congratulations. Now we go to the next question. What year did he join the Ministry of Works? Go. Year. What year? Year only. Go. So what year did you join the Federal Ministry of Works?
1987.
1987. So we go again to confirm 1987, I'm seeing the first from my own side. Confirm with you, I see for your side, I'm seeing Jonathan Ajiboye. I am seeing Jonathan Ajiboye. I don't know whether that is what you have on your own side, sir.
It's for I think it's Jonathan Ajiboye, true. But I don't know.
Ajiboye from my own side. So Ajiboye, as the English people will say Ajiboy, we used to have a goalkeeper they call Ajiboy. So Ajiboye, can you show us your face? So where are you based?
Abuja, sir.
Yeah?
Abuja.
I can't hear you.
Abuja.
Abuja?
Yes.
Abuja?
Hello?
Can you increase the volume of your mic? We can hardly hear you.
Okay.
Where are you based? So we can wrap
Abuja.
it up, please.
I said Abuja.
Abuja, okay, fantastic.
Yes.
So after the event between now and Friday, you've won for yourself the microwave I showed before. Look at it. So you have this between now and Friday. So you send me your information. You have my number?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you send your information. I send you the address where you pick it up between now and Friday. If we don't see you on Friday, we go to the chat box and it goes to Mr. Donatus Ehimen, not Osimen. Okay, congratulations, Jonathan. Wish you all the best. The last, but not the least, and who goes home with our standing fan? What is the width of the standard gauge? So what width did you mention?
1435.
1435.
Yes.
So we go now, and this one should be simple now because I practically, asked this question, knowing that I will ask it. 1435, we go again to this, we have Iyanulua 1435, if Naya 1435.
No.
So the first is
I have Oye. First one that I saw.
I'm seeing Iyanulua from here. I don't know whether then I saw after her, I saw Energy, which is a different thing. He mixed it up. He wrote 1453 wrong. Then before Ifunanya. I don't know if we can confirm from other places for us to know who got it right. Let's see the charts because sometimes it can be. So who did you see first, sir? You confirm we give the prize. Hello, sir. I can't. Okay. If Naya has confirmed, Iyanolua is the first to get it correct. And on that note, Iyanolua, please, can you show us your face? Good. Okay. Oh,
Good
this
evening,
is a
sir.
regular participant. You've won a prize before, so?
Yes, sir.
Wow, congratulations. You've won a standing fan. Are you based in Abuja or where?
No, sir. I'm based here in Calabar.
Calabar, fantastic. We've cut across everywhere, north, south, and then west. Congratulations. And congratulations again. So you've won a standing fan, as I said, between now Friday, you send your friend to pick it up on your behalf. And to all our guests, to all our participants, I want to say a very big thank you to all of you for always participating in this program. I can't thank you enough. Like just a baby of yesterday, we've run it for consistently for 3 years now. And we can only say to God be the glory. I want to thank all of you. And as the year ends, I want to pray that the Almighty God will bless all of you and make this celebration, this year's Christmas celebration, and the coming year to be a very fruitful and wonderful year for all of you. I pray for God's blessings upon your families. And from the desk of the host, I say, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And also a very big thank you to our guest, Engineer Mohammed Babakobi, for being our last guest for the year 2024. See you in the year 2025. It's going to be a wonderful year for all of us. And once again, it's my pleasure to sign out officially for these years inside the arena. As I look forward to seeing you next year. I remain your host, Engineer Ben O.C. Oko. And to all our senior engineers here, I can't call all your names. There are many of them, please. My sincere apologies. Thank you so much, and God bless all of you. We will all meet in the year 2025, and it's going to be a wonderful year for all of us. God bless you all as I sign out. Bye for now.